Okay, so hello and welcome to our second meeting. The topic of our seminar is astronomy and space exploration. The lecture will take around an hour, and each participant will have approximately 8 minutes. So please don't forget to use your active vocabulary, don't interrupt each other. And I would like to start with Milena. So Milena, the stage is yours.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm glad to introduce my new topic. So my topic today is Copernicus revolution. And first of all, I want to say and mention that Copernican revolution is, I believe, it is one of the most important breakthroughs in astronomy. And I believe this way for two main reasons. First of all, Copernican revolution is a shift in the field of astronomy from a geocentric understanding of the universe. It is centered around the Earth and the space exploration to heliocentric understanding centered around the sun, as articulated by the Polish astronomer whose name was Nicholas Copernicus. His breakthrough took place in the 16th century, and this shift marked the start of a broader scientific revolution that set foundations of modern science and allowed science to flourish. And it was an enormous discipline within its own right. So also, although heliocentric theories had been considered by philosophers as early as, for example, just a second, Philolaus, yes, in the 5th century of BCE. And while there had been earlier discussions of the possibility of Earth's motion, Copernicus was the first to explore a comprehensive heliocentric theory, equal in scope and predictive capability to Ptolemy's geocentric system. So, motivated by the desire to satisfy Plato's principles of uniform circular motion, Copernicus, he was led to overthrow traditional astronomy because of its inability and its it also reconciled with the Platonic dictum as well as its lack of unity and harmony in that time, on that time. Yes, and relying on virtually the same data as Ptolemy had possessed, Copernicus turned the world inside out. He put the sun at the center and he set the Earth into motion around it. And Copernicus' theory, it was published originally in 1543. It possessed the qualitative simplicity that Ptolemaic astronomy appeared to lack. So to achieve comparable levels of quantitative precision, however, there was a new system and it became as complex as the old one. Perhaps the most revolutionary aspect of the Copernican revolution itself, it was the Copernicus attitude toward the reality of his theory. This is because Copernicus anticipated his ideas and he understood that they would be controversial for some time. Because of this, he waited for more than 30 years to publish his book, and it happened only in 1543. It was named like on the revolutions of the heavenly spheres, and it put the sun at the center of the universe as the Earth circling the sun. Yes. Secondly, in contrast to Platonic instrumentalism, Copernicus asserted that to be satisfactory astronomy, it must describe the real and physical system and physical objects. Still, Copernicus didn't solve all the difficulties of the Ptolemaic system, and he had also to keep some geometrical instruments and adjustments, as well as a few Aristotelian crystalline spheres. The result was neat, but it was really striking for that time, and it commanded immediate universal assent. Moreover, there were some implications that caused considerable concern. And why should the crystalline orb containing Earth circle the sun? And how was it possible for Earth itself to revolve on its axis once in 24 hours without hurling all objects? And it also included humans of its surface. No one could predict, and no one could answer these questions. And the provision of such answers was to be the central topic and concern for the scientific revolution. And furthermore, the reception of Copernican astronomy amounted to victory by infiltration. By the time large-scale opposition to the theory had developed in the church and elsewhere, most of the best professional astronomers had found some aspect or another aspect of the new system. And Copernicus' book, it published, as I've mentioned, in 1543, and it became a standard reference for advanced problematic and astronomical research. And it was concerned with particularly for the mathematic techniques, yes, and technologies. Thus, it was widely read by mathematical astronomers, and still, at the same time, it was widely ignored. And the story of this revolution is problematic for several reasons. To sum up, first of these reasons is that much as Copernicus' ideas broke with the past, his model of the cosmos has more in common with the contemporaries than it does with the modern day astronomy and physics. So it was as we can say, an old-fashioned way. Secondly, although Copernicus' its centered model was a revolutionary act, it was part of a series of early modern and earlier innovations. While Copernicus' contributions to astronomy were really revolutionary and it was a great breakthrough, they are fundamentally different from our conception and of today's solar system, and his model still required perfect circle motion in the heavens. This meant that, like Ptolemy, he needed to use circles and circles on circles, which are called just a second, epicycles to account for the movement of the planets. And Copernicus' circles were much smaller, but the model didn't get rid of some that they're needed for them. So it is my summary, a really brief one of the Copernicus revolution. And actually, I really think and I believe that it is one of the, it played a crucial role in astronomy of that time. Thanks for your attention. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer them.
Do we have any questions? No, no one. Okay, thank you, Milena. That was very interesting. Now, Lisa, we would like to hear your report.
So my report is called Curiosity. Curiosity, also called Mars Science Laboratory, MSL. It is a US vehicle designed to explore the surface of Mars, which determined that Mars once was capable of supporting life. So talking about space exploration in general, Curiosity was launched on November 26 in 2011 in Gale crater on August 6, 2012, and it continues to explore Mars today. It has been on the red planet, as Mars also called, for over 2,800 sols. It's like a Martian day, taken more than 700,000 raw images and traveled for over 14 miles on the surface of Mars for over the years. So Curiosity is about 3 meters long, and it weighs about 900 kilos, which makes it the longest and the heaviest rover on Mars. So it is not the only one. It has a team of astro powers. By contrast, the Mars exploration rovers named Spirit and Opportunity are like Curiosity's neighbors on Mars, only neighbors. And unlike previous rovers I mentioned, Curiosity didn't have its landing cushionized by airbags because it was too heavy, and it was landed by like 3 tethers from the spacecraft's body, and they were called the Sky Crane. So thanks to Curiosity, which is an astronomical object, scientists now know much more about the planet due to the conducted researches that were made by astrometrical instruments that Curiosity possesses, and it possesses a lot. The fact that Curiosity has been roving around on the surface of Mars for like 8 years is a testament to its design. According to NASA, Curiosity has 4 main scientific goals in support of the agency's Mars exploration program, but all of the goals Curiosity has, they are connected, because if they achieve one goal, it will flow into another, and so all the 4 goals. So they are to determine whether life has ever arose on Mars, to characterize the climate on Mars, the geology of Mars, and prepare for human exploration. So NASA panel selected the name Curiosity following a nationwide student contest that attracted more than like 9,000 proposals via internet and mail. And a 6th grade student from Kansas, her name was Clara Ma from elementary school in Kansas, submitted the winning entry, and as her prize, they put her name on the Curiosity itself, so it has like her name printed there and sent to Mars. And Curiosity is named as a reason for the name, that Curiosity is an everlasting flame that burns in everyone's mind. And there was like a long speech, but I extracted the very most interesting part. So on August 6th in 2013, Curiosity audibly played a song, Happy Birthday to You, in honor of the 1 Earth year mark of its Martian landing. It was like the first time for a song to be played on another planet. And this was also the first time that music itself was transmitted between 2 planets. So the Curiosity rover also found ancient Mars had the right to like chemistry to support living like microbes, and Curiosity found such things as carbon, oxygen, phosphorus, and other elements that are key ingredients necessary for life in general. And the sample also reveals like clay minerals and not too much salt, that which suggests fresh, possibly drinkable water once flowed there. And more than like 50 years after after humans were sent to the moon, which is the closest star body to Earth, the plan is still to head to Mars, something many astronauts who have flown in space thought we would have already accomplished, but we couldn't. And like, this is a quotation, I just assumed by the time I got to be old enough to go into the space program, we would be living on Mars, or I'd be working on Mars just as a scientist. It was the first a quotation by first Afro-American woman in space. She told it to university students at the Kennedy Space Center in December 2019. But despite the fact humankind has been unable to send anyone to another place in the universe, like besides the moon, there are still many with the hopes and expectation that we will become a multi-planetary species in the near future, starting with our red next door neighbor, which is Mars. But billionaire entrepreneurs like Elon Musk and aspiring young astronauts like Elisa Carson, you may have heard her name. So she's studying astrobiology at Florida. She also hopes to visit Mars one day with Elon Musk as well, to like work there. But the problem is space expenditure, because it takes too much money. Even Elon Musk doesn't have that amount. So eventually the sun will run out of fuel to burn. It's like the quotation also by some explorers. Eventually the sun will run out of fuel to burn, and conditions on Earth are going to be very different from our normal regular life now. And it was Carson told in Florida and part of the USA Today network. And it's not necessarily saying that Mars is the savior here, but Mars is that the first step in getting people a bit more accustomed to even thinking about living on other planets and being able to colonize something else. And even Musk's his company is called SpaceX, was founded with the ultimate goal of enabling people to live on other planets, according to his own website. And but now many people ask, it's like frequently asked question, if people can even breathe on Mars, but still we cannot, because the carbon layer is much thicker than on Earth, so it is unable for people to breathe. And like many people have no idea why Curiosity works there and explores the Mars if there is even not enough oxygen for people to breathe. That's all. Thank you. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
I have a question.
Okay.
I'm here, by the way, but it's a blackout in our area. I wanted to ask, like, in this century, can we expect that someone will step on the Mars?
Well, Curiosity's one of the main goals is to prepare Mars for space explorations, and approximately in 50 years, explorers, including Elon Musk as a sponsor, would go to Mars and explore the space, but it's like controversial. But I don't think it would happen
Okay.
in 50 years.
Thank you. Okay, that's really interesting. Girls, do you have any questions? No? Okay, now it's actually Ariana's turn, but we don't have light. I do have internet and she doesn't, so now I will tell you about constellations. And I'm sorry, I will have to like, yeah, to close you. So if Ariana comes back, it will be her turn next. So what is a constellation? A constellation is a group of stars that appears to form a pattern or a picture like Orion the Great Hunter, Leo the Lion, or Taurus the Bull. Constellations are easily recognizable patterns that help people orient themselves using the night sky. There are 88 official constellations, and each constellation is a collection of stars that are distributed in space in 3 dimensions. The stars are all different distances from Earth, and the stars in the constellation appear to be in the same plane only because we're viewing them from the very, very far away. Actually, they are all far away from each other. Stars vary greatly in size, in distance from Earth, and temperature. And dimmer stars may be smaller, farther away, or cooler than brighter stars. And by the same token, the brightest stars are not necessarily the closest. Or the stars in Cygnus, this one, it's a constellation. The faintest star is the closest, and the brightest star is the farthest. So how are constellations named? Most of the constellations names we know came from the ancient Middle Eastern, Greek, and Roman cultures. They identified clusters of stars as gods, goddesses, animals, and objects of their stories. It is important to understand also that these were not the only cultures that populated the night sky with the characters of their stories. And cultures all over the world and throughout time, like Native Americans, Asians, and Africans, gazed at the night sky, suggesting their own theories on the origin and nature of the astronomical objects. And they have made pictures with those same stars. In some cases, the constellations may have had ceremonial or religious significance. And in other cases, the star groupings help to mark the passage of time between planting and harvesting. And now there are 48 ancient constellations, and they are the brightest grouping of stars. Those are easily observed by the naked eye. Also, there are modern constellations like the Peacock telescope and Giraffe, and they were identified by later astronomers of the 16th and 17th centuries. They used telescopes and were able to observe the night sky in the southern hemisphere. These scientists connected the dimmer stars between the ancient constellations, and they created 38 modern constellations. And in 1930, the International Astronomical Union officially listed 88 modern and ancient constellations and drew a boundary around each. And it happens that the boundary edges meet. So they divide an imaginary sphere of the celestial sphere surrounding Earth into 88 pieces. And astronomers consider any star within a constellation boundary to be part of that constellation, even if it is not part of the actual picture. So there are different star charts, and today we will only consider the most popular ones. So the first one is Aquarius. So Aquarius is actually one of the biggest and most famous and the oldest constellations, and it is faint and often hard to find, however. In Greek mythology, Aquarius represented Ganymede, a very handsome young man. Zeus recognized the lad's good looks and invited Ganymede to Olympus to be the cup-bearer of the gods. For his service, he was granted eternal youth and as well as a place on the night sky. And as we know, Aquarius is one of the zodiac signs. The next one is Gemini. Gemini is the Latin word for twins. And it is said that the constellation is best viewed in February. So Gemini represents the twins Castor and Pollux. You probably know them because they're also part of our history. So while the twins' mother was Leda, Castor's father was the mortal king of Sparta, while Pollux' father was King Zeus. He actually is just a random fact. He seduced Leda in the form of a swan. When Castor was killed, the immortal Pollux begged Zeus to give Castor immortality, which he did by um, placing both brothers on the night sky. And Castor and Pollux also happen to be the names of the brightest stars in the constellations, and here they are. They represent the heads of the brothers. Next constellation is Leo. Just a moment. Oh, where is Leo? Okay, I did not get the pictures for Leo, but in Latin it means lion, and it is best viewed in April, and it has been a great lion in the night sky across almost all mythological traditions. In Greek lore, it is said that Leo is the monstrous lion that was killed by Hercules as part of his 12 labors, and the lion could not be killed by any human sword and any mortal weapon, because his claws were super sharp. And eventually Hercules tracked him down and choked the great beast, albeit losing a finger in the process. And because Leo actually looks somewhat like its namesake, like the real lion, it is the easiest constellation in the zodiac to find. Next is Orion. It is named for Orion, the mythological Greek hunter, and it is best viewed in January. Orion is one of the largest and most recognizable of the constellations. It is viewable around the world and has been mentioned by Homer, by Virgil, and even in the Bible, making it probably the most famous constellation. So Orion was a massive, supernaturally gifted hunter who was the son of Poseidon. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it was said he regularly hunted with Artemis, the goddess of the hunt, on the island of Crete, and that he was killed either by her bow or by the sting of the great scorpion, who later became the constellation Scorpius. Next constellation is Pisces, and Pisces in Latin stands for fish. It is best viewed in November, and these two fish represent Aphrodite and her son Eros, who turned themselves into fish and tied themselves together with rope in order to escape Typhon, the largest and most vile monster in all of Greek mythology. Actually, it is not likely that you will find Pisces in the middle of a city, as none of its individual stars are really worth noting or particularly bright. It forms a large V with the right fish forming a small O on the end, and the left fish forming a small triangle on the end. Also, we should have Scorpius, but him I also forgot. I'm sorry. So Scorpius is a Latin word for scorpion, and he is best viewed in July. And there are a variety of myths associated with the scorpion. That's the reason why I took him. He is a really interesting sign. Almost all the myths about the scorpion involve Orion the hunter. So it is said that Orion once boasted that he could kill all the animals on Earth, and he dared the scorpion. And after a long, fierce fight, Orion was defeated. And it was such a hard-fought battle that it caught the eye of Zeus, and Zeus raised the scorpion to the night sky for eternity, just for his power. And with many bright stars, Scorpius is fairly easy to find in the night sky. Its brightest star is called Antares. They also call the brightest stars Alphas. It is said to be the heart of the Scorpion, and I guess it is here. That will be the easiest star to locate, I guess, because it is really noticeable, but sometimes it is confused with Mars because of its red-orange coloring. And to the right of the heart are 5 stars that form the head, and to the left are a long line of stars that curve into sideways or upside down question mark. So it is a tail and it is a head, and here is oh wait, it's not even a scorpion. Forget what I showed you. So this is Ursa Major. Ursa Major stands for larger bear, in Russian Большая Медведица, and it is best viewed in April. So in English we call it, not we, but they call it the Big Dipper, and it is popularly thought of as a constellation itself, but in fact it is an asterism within the constellation of Ursa Major. It is said to be the most universally recognizable star pattern, partially because it's always visible in the northern hemisphere. It has great significance in the mythologies throughout different cultures around the world. And the Greek myth of Ursa Major also tells the story of Ursa Minor. So Zeus was once in love with a young nymph named Callisto, and Hera, Zeus' wife, was jealous, and she transformed Callisto into a bear. And while in animal form, Callisto met her son Arcas, and being the man, I'm sorry, but that's how it is said. Being the man, he had an instinct to shoot the bear. And Zeus wouldn't let that happen, so he turned Arcas into a bear as well, so he could be nice to his mother. And he placed them both, like Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, permanently in the night sky. And the seven stars of the Big Dipper are easily recognized and almost always visible. They form a part of the backside and tail of the large bear. And while the rest of the bear definitely takes the shape of its namesake, it's often visible in it's not often visible in light polluted areas, but in northern parts of the world, especially in the northern hemisphere, it's usually. Next one is Ursa Minor. You know the story of it. I have just told it, and in Latin it stands for smaller bear. It is best viewed in June, and it is famous for containing Polaris, the North Star. And many people erroneously, like by mistake, think that the North Star is directly over their heads. But that's only true if you look at it from the North Pole. For most people in the northern hemisphere, it will be dipped into the night sky. And also, Ursa Minor is best known as the smaller Dipper, Little Dipper. And it's visualized as a baby bear with an unusually long tail. And it can be distinguished from the Big Dipper not only by size, but by the emphasized curvature of its tail, like this. And when you found the North Star at the end of the bear's tail using the Big Dipper, it's then easy to identify the rest of the constellation. And our last constellation is Taurus. Taurus in Latin stands for bow. It is said that it is best viewed in January. And Taurus is a large and prominent fixture in the winter sky. As one of the oldest recognized constellations, it has mythologized dating back to the early Bronze Age. And there are several Greek myths involving Taurus. Two of them include Zeus, who either disguised himself as a bull or disguised his mistress as a bull just for a joke. And another myth has the bull being the seventh labor of Hercules after the beast wrecked the countryside. That's it. And I think Ariana is back, unlike our lights. So, Ari? No, she doesn't hear me. Okay, then Vika, it's your turn.
Can you hear
Emma?
me well?
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry, I wanted to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I wanted to mention that your presentation was really great. I liked it a lot, and the pictures of the constellations were amazing. And I want to ask you, basically, I think that you believe in astrology, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of. Okay, what is your sign, and do you believe it describes you like in correct way?
Well, my sign is Cancer, and it is believed that cancers are like, the whining small babies that are like really cute and all of that. And I don't know, maybe some people perceive me like this. Yes, Lisa, but most people wouldn't say it's true, so probably not. No, I don't
Okay.
think so. If you ask me
Thanks.
what sign or constellation I like the most, it probably would be a Scorpio. Yeah. Now, Ari, do you hear us?
Yes, I do.
Ariana, Vika, choose whose turn it
May I
is.
start?
Okay, if you wish.
Ariana, don't you mind?
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. So first of all, yeah,
Wait,
thanks.
wait.
Oh, yep.
Ariana's megabytes are running.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
she could present and then because she'll disappear.
Okay, okay then.
I'm sorry, Vika. So my topic is Stardust. Probably you have heard that we are Stardust. So what does this quote mean? So some people, even even astronomers say that we're stardust because our body made of the atoms that come from all stars that exploded long ago. After the Big Bang, there were only a hydrogen atom. A hydrogen atom consists of one electron and one proton, and but the force of gravity created large accumulations of hydrogen under a huge pressure, and hydrogen atoms, they melted into helium atoms, and they consist of two protons and two electrons. So nuclear fusion continued to continued and formed more complex atoms such as for example, hydrogen, helium, carbon, and oxygen, and remember them. So because 97% of our bodies consists of these elements. So the temperature of nuclear fusion continued to rise, and heavy elements such as magnesium, cobalt, iron, silicon formed. And the most accepted theory that elements that are heavier than iron, they formed in supernova. So you probably wondered what is supernova, and supernova, so it's a powerful and luminous explosion of stellar, and nova in Latin means new, and super it distinguished to it distinguished that this supernova is more luminous than ordinary nova, and this term like supernova was coined by Walter Bate and Fritz Zwicky in 1929. So, and interesting fact that Korean and Chinese astronomers, they recorded supernova in like 1054, as did almost certainly a Native American, and this supernova happened about 5,600 light years away from the Earth, and it was so incredibly bright and luminous that astronomers, they could see it during the day. And it was visible like for the naked eye for about 2 years in the night sky. So usually when stars reach the end of their lives, they exploded and spread the atoms throughout the space. And once then this happened, the force of gravity gathered together the remains of the stars that had exploded, and the new stars and planets formed. In our case, it was the star, like the sun, and our planet Earth, and her and other companies in the Milky Way, in the solar system, sorry. So the spontaneous chemical reactions on the Earth, like they created inorganic materials formed, oh my God, formed organic, okay, never mind. I'll skip this part because it's like, a study has been conducted using the Sloan Digital Sky Survey Exploration Program, and the composition of 150,000 stars belonging to the Milky Way have been analyzed, and the elements that are fundamental to life on Earth have been identified. So in conclusion, our body consists of 97% of these elements. That's it.
Thank you. We have finished and the lights are back. I have a question. Is your background somehow connected with your topic? Background behind you. Oh, yeah. Why is she ignoring me? Where did you go? Okay, never mind.
She
then.
ignores you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for your participation, girls. Actually, we're supposed, you know it, you were supposed to have a bit more people, but it is what it is. And thank you for your input. That was all very interesting. Medina Kamunovna, we will send you the vocabulary and the list of participants. Hope you liked our today's meeting. That's it. Goodbye, because stop the recording, please.
Goodbye. Sweet dreams.
Yeah, we dream.